Hello everyone, this is Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes, and let's keep working on our July design team project for Artzology. I'm working with the sewing word labels, number 142, and I'm also working with the vintage pattern tickets, number 140. And I do want to clarify something for everybody that I don't know if you were aware of. I was not aware of. So we need to make sure that we're all in line. So this is how they print out in the normal digital kit, this large. It's an 8.5 by 11 page. And then in your printer, you can print it at the 5 by 7. And I did 2 on a page so I could have twice as much goodness. And this is how large they print on 5 by 7. And this is 4 by 6. So they're a little bit smaller, and they work good for some of the items that I'm going to be doing. And then in your printer, you can also choose to enlarge some items as a percentage or scaling. And I wanted to show you a few, like here I've already used a couple. This is at 142%. You get a nice bigger ticket. And this is 146%, and it cuts off a couple, but they get a little bit bigger. And I also printed at 150%, and then I started bringing it down, and see it cut off these tickets here. But they are a nice size for these 4. And this is at 135. Oh, I've got 2 copies of that. This is at 135, so they're a little bit smaller. So you can play around with your scaling printing on your printer, but you may not alter these tickets in any way. You can fussy cut them, and you can enlarge them on your printer or shrink them on your printer, but they're copyrighted, so you have to make sure that you stay in the acceptable guidelines, and you just work with your printer. You may not import them to your Photoshop and alter them at all. So I want to make sure that I do not give you the indication that it is acceptable to do that, because it is not. And I also want to show some alternatives that I made for the pattern envelopes that we did the other day. So to make the image look larger or more focal, is I matted it with some black cardstock here, and I took the stub We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper and took the corners out. And then here you have where there's 4, and then I've double matted it. I used a cream cardstock, and I've used the black also. So you get some different looks for your faux pattern envelopes. So this is really a great idea. And now today, what we're going to work on is we're going to play with this tab punch board, and we're going to make a little file folder journal. And this is just some cardstock. I believe this is Tim Holtz cardstock. It's a double-sided, and then I've got a little pocket here, and then I've got a plain card that I gessoed, and then I glued on a pattern piece onto it. So you can still see through it, but it's easy to write on now with a smooth surface. And in the back pocket, I did the same thing with a different playing card. So it just adds a little bit of interest, plus you get to look at the vintage playing cards. And then my inside, I've got some papers. So let's go ahead and make one of these. Let me show you how I do it. I have a double-sided cardstock. This one is Echo Park. And for the file folder I'm going to make, I have a 9-inch wide by 7 1/8 tall. And I want this size because it's going to fit inside my front pocket in my journal. So it's going to go right in there. So that's why I chose that size. But you can make these any size you want. And so let's play. I've only worked with this a few times, so bear with me. This is a little stopper, and this is the home position for it. And I'm going to make some side tabs, so we need this to make side tabs so it has an edge. And it will only fit in there one way. It won't work the other way. So it has markings on this We Are Memory Keepers tab punch board. The first set on the left of the holes, it says side tabs, and the right set, it says corner rounders. So we're going to use both of those. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. And now we're going to go to the short side. That's going to be our end. And I already went ahead and scored it in half, so I know where my file folder is. And bring that up, nest it right up in that corner, and punch. And then we have that little angle. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip it this way so I can have another one on this side. So now it matches. I'm going to remove this little stopper and put it back in the home. And over here there are some guidelines for small, medium, and large tabs. So you get 3 different variations. And so I'm going to flip it over so that this cut punched area lines up, and I'm going to use medium. So line it up and punch. And that's it. It looks, I don't know if that's there. Maybe that's easier to see. And then let's go ahead and do it for this side too. So we flip it over so that it lines up with our medium and punch. Now we're going to flip the board around to this side. And we're going to put our file folder, we're going to cut this off. I'm going to put it right up, and it nests, there's a stop here, and it nests right up to it. In here, there's a little guide in this knob, and it has a little knife blade that's an arrow shape or triangle, and a little round, and this is the guide part. And it, yes, it does swivel. This guide is going to go in this groove. And if you lift this up, there's a little ditch here that the blade is going to cut through. So that's what we want to do, is put the guide in here. So it's going to just slide. And now we're going to put in our paper, and we're going to go ahead and cut all the way to our opening, and you're going to feel the tension and then lack of tension. So that's going to help know where to stop. Getting close, so I want to slow down. There, I could feel all of a sudden it just stopped. And you get a perfect cut every time. I love it. Get rid of that scrap. Let's go ahead and do this side. I'm moving the blade out of the way. Get it up in there, and now bring it over. And then we can put that back in the housing so that it's protected. Let's bring it back around. Now we're going to use this stopper again because we want to round this corner here. And put it in the corner rounder hole slot. And we're going to nest our corner right back up in there again and punch. So now we have a nice corner. Let's do it again. So now we have a file folder that is all good. It's a fun little toy. And of course you can make your tabs using your envelope punch board. That's the way I used to do them. And now we're going to have this folded in half. And I cut some paper. It's just some coffee dyed pages. And I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 pages. So we're going to staple those into the center of our little file folder. And I'm going to grab, we're going to use this long armed stapler, and I got it in Amazon. And it has a guide. I've got my tape markings so I know where to put my staples for this size file folder. And so I'm going to bring the guide up to the tape. So that is set and ready to work with. But we need to get this all ready. So I have it folded in half already, nested in there nice and tight. Let's use a paper clip. Let's grab another one. Can never grab them when I want them. I always keep putting them away. Maybe I should just leave them laying around. So the paper clips are kind of holding it. I want to make sure that it's nice and nested. Get it in there nice. Then I'm going to grab a couple of clips. And with this, there really is no up and down. If you did have a directional paper, you want to make sure that you get it nested in there right, so it goes the right direction. Okay, I'm nesting it in there in the fold, and then I'm kind of centering because I cut it so there's a border all the way around. And now I'm going to go ahead and clip this to hold it. And instead of stapling, you can do like a 3-hole pamphlet stitch too. But I thought I would shake it up a little bit and do this. So now what I'm going to do is I want the back of the staple to be on the outside so you don't hurt or cut any fingers. Sorry about that. Get that phone shut off. And then go ahead and in the center, and I bring my edge right up to the guide and staple. And then I want to bring it down to close to the bottom and staple. And now this is wider than this, so I need to move my guide back to my other tape and set that in there near the top and staple. Now we're done with the stapler. Just set it aside. Remove our clips. Remove our paper clips, and there our staples are right in the center. And then just go ahead and fold over our papers. And if you just give them a little crease, they just work. They've opened and closed better for the end user. And then I just want to burnish it down a little bit. And there's our little folder. But let's place some more with it. I have some little strips of paper cut already for their pockets. They're for this size, they're 3.5 inches wide and about 2 3/8 inch tall. So I want to go ahead and put that in here on the bottom so there's a margin around. But I have a rounded corner here, so I want to round this corner too. So I'm just going to use a corner chomper in the 1/4 inch and give it a chomp. You can ink around it if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and just glue it in on 3 sides. And I always put my fingers where I don't want the glue so I don't get mixed up, because I've done that. You can't tell from the back side where you want it. And go ahead and place it. Get that border how you like it to look. And just press it down. Now let's flip over to the back side. And this is the corner I needed rounded this time, this one. You can do all of them if you'd like, but I'm going to be a rebel. So now we're going to, here, so you can see, we're going to glue the 3 sides again, and I'm just using art glitter glue that dries clear. And put it in there, make sure it's into the position I want it, and press it down. And I've got 2 more little playing cards with some gesso and the pattern paper. So we can go ahead and slide those into our pockets. Let's put a label on the front. I've been working with the Artzology More labels, and I've been cutting them out quite a bit though, so this is what it looked like when it prints full size. There's 2 rectangles, and then there's 2 that are this shape. And this shape is a brown and a red, and these are a blue and a green. And I believe, yes, I have them cut. I have printed them 5 by 7 too, so you can see with the full size sheet, the labels that you get. They're nice and versatile labels. I like them. And then for another project, I'm going to work with these Artzology labels also. The rectangle, or this is an octagon. There's also a sheet of, oh, and I don't have that handy, of just rectangle ones. And I'm going to work with those today too. So Artzology is a one-stop shop. It's got everything you need. So you can ink around it a little bit, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place it. And I'm going to use the a gel type glue, Fabri-Tac or this 3-in-1, and I like it for the labels. I did print it on some heavy paper. It's 32-pound laser matte printer paper, but I don't want any grooves or ridges from my glue, so I'm going to use this because I can spread it out pretty thin and I'm going to leave the label blank so that the user can fill in the notes that they'd like to, the title or date or nothing. And then just go ahead and spread the glue. And I didn't put it too close to the edge because I don't want it to ooze out. If it does ooze out, make sure you rub it off right away before it dries. It's easier. So there we have a fun little folder. Let's stick it in our pocket so we can see what it looks like. There. Nice little one. And then here I've got a pattern envelope. And here I've got some other ephemera that I've made. So now let's make some tags. I've got some, here we go, we got a tag all cut out. I've got the edges inked on both sides. This tag is 2 7/8 by 5.5. I just cut them so that I could get 6 on a 8.5 by 11 page of cardstock. And it just works for me. And then I've already got my corners nipped. So let's stamp. I have this Prima stamp. I really like it. It makes a nice background stamp. And I'm just going to randomly stamp it on there. So I'm just going to put it in coffee colored Ranger archival ink. I like the color. And then let's just place it on there and just stamp. And it wasn't quite wide enough for the entire length, so we'll just go ahead and hit it again with a little bit of, get some color up there too. It's just the background. Okay. And then I have this measuring tape stamp. Let's go ahead and put that on there too. I like that. And it's definitely too small for inches. I don't know if it works for centimeters, but it's the idea. And just going to place it on that edge and press it down. It does not need to be perfect. Good. It works. I can live with that. Okay. And then I've got some fun stuff together in my little basket of goodies. And I thought we could play with a little bit of lace. And this is a rubber stamp from Tim Holtz, the little dress form and the sewing machine that I got in a set of like 6 or 8 different stamps. And these two work well, so I'm going to work with those. Here I've got some sewing machine ones done. And then we're going to put some words on and a ticket. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Let's put some lace on the bottom. And this is just some upcycled lace. I cut it off of an old project or item that I got at the thrift store, and I can always reuse it. So let's just cut it down to size a little bit. It's a little big, but that works. And I like to use the 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac on this, and I want to only put glue where it's really dense. I don't want it over the mesh because that will seep through so quickly. And you don't need a lot. I'm just trying to just tap it out. And it still probably will be too much, but let's grab a tweezer. I use my tweezers for almost everything. And just place it on the bottom. And just tap a little bit. There. Now we can flip it over and trim it on both sides. There. So now we have that. And now this dress form, I've ripped out a couple sides already with, I use this tear ruler I got from Plaid, from Amazon. And I've had it for quite a while, so I don't know if they still have them in stock. It seems like whenever we find something good, it gets sold out right away. But I really like this metal ruler. And I'm sure they've got other ones, plastic ones, or even different types of tears maybe. But this one's my favorite. And then just hit it with the ink a little bit. Give it some definition. And it is stamped on coffee dyed paper, so it does have a older look already. Okay, let's just place that. And let's see, let's use a label. These are some of the little labels from Artzology, and let's take a look at what we've got. Let's just play a little bit. No, I don't like the blue with the pink, so that one's out. Let's try a purple one. Nope, that's out. And here we've got some of the octagon. No, I don't think so. There's a yellow. Nope, that blends in too much. Let's go ahead and use one of these two. I really like the dark coloring on this one. But you know what? I think this one's the winner. I'm going with that one. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's glue this down and grab my glue book, and I'm just going to use a Uhu on this. And just kind of place it, overlap some elements. Give it some interest. And then this, I'm just going to go ahead and I printed it on stark white paper, of course, but just hit the dull it down a little bit and get some glue. And I don't want it off the corner. That works. And then we'll press it down. It looks old and grungy now. It's good. Okay, let's put a word on there. And I printed these on cardstock. And let's see. Oh, here we go. Dress form. Let's do that. And hit it with the ink again. And I printed this on cardstock, so I'm going to use the art glitter glue instead of the Oohoo on this one. I glued it first before I did a dry fit, so now we got to play carefully. Yeah, let's do that. Just like usually go with your gut, right? Okay. It needs a little something extra. I've got some die cuts that I've been working with that I made to get ready for this journal. So here, let's try this burgundy button. How does that look? Yes, we're in the same color family and stuff, so I think, yes, let's work with it. And I just die cut it out of scrapbook paper. And so I'm just going to use a little bit of art glitter glue. Not too much. And let's just place it down there in the corner. There. And you still got quite a bit of room to write here. And you got the whole back. So that just makes an interesting little tag. Not too overdone. And then I think for the top part, I've got those fabric and decorative stitch ruffling that I was going to put on the edge of the pages, and I've made them so that they're going to be longer than the pages. So I think when I'm done with those, I can use those scraps and go back and attach them to tags. I think that'll be a nice touch. Let's make another tag. Oh, here I've got one. All right. You know what? Let's cover it with some pattern paper. This is an instruction sheet from a Vogue pattern. And did I cut it big enough? Yeah. So let's just go ahead and apply glue. Well, the tag is smaller than the paper, so let's apply the glue to the tag. I like this blue Oohoo because I can see where I've been and where I've missed. And it dries clear, the color goes away. So then put that down, and let's see, where do I want it? Got so much margin on this side, so I think I'm just going to try to, and if it's crooked, that's even better. And now we can trim it. There, and so now we have a new base. I like that. Okay, let's use one of our little tickets. Let's use that yellow. I like that tulip cut of that bodice. It looks kind of fun in that wild red skirt. That's a fun little ticket. And then to take these little corners out of the ticket stub, I'm going to use this We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile corner chomper in the stub end. And I got this on Amazon also. It's a lot less dangerous to shop on Amazon than it is to actually walk into the craft store. Boy, I get into the craft store and I just gotta load up that cart. It's too much fun. You see all their great ideas. So, yeah. Amazon whenever possible. Saves you money. And the stores don't stock all the fun little things that you might want to. You know, they've only got so much shelf space. And I'm just kind of inking around the edge a little bit to give it a little bit of character. And we're going to just stick that on there somewhere. That works. And let's put a word on here. Let's read through them again. Find a fun word. Oh, here we go. Pattern. Perfect. You always know it when you see it. Get rid of those. And let's hit it with the ink again so we don't have those white edges. Got definitely this vintage look going on. Yeah, it's going to be pretty simple, but you know, I like it. Now, let's get some, move this so I don't ruin it. And glue the back of it. And this is that heavy printer paper again, that 32 pound. And I have a laser printer. And so I've got quite a few paper choices. Let's maybe bring it down a little bit. In a little bit so I can see a little bit of the word letters. Yeah, let's just stick it down. Once it's down, it's done. And then a little bit of art glitter glue again. Grab the tweezer. And let's butt it up all the way to the edge. And then it slid. Okay. It dries so quickly. That works. It's just simple. It's just a little tag, but I like it. Let's ink a little bit on the edges. And then we put a little bit of a fabric at the top to finish it off. It's not overdone. Definitely an understated. And you can sew around it too if you'd like to. That would make a nice little extra texture and embellishment touch. I've got some of that wax that I was working with the other day. These adhesive erasers work wonders. There. Now we have another tag. So we've got a file folder, journal, little notebook thing, and we've got 2 tags done. Let's see if I have enough time. Let's try and play with another little pocket. Let's glue together a couple of our glue book pages. And I'm going to use a glue stick for that. Well, let's stick glue all over. And I believe this is just Reader's Digest pages that I ripped out of a book to use the cover. And then what I want to do now is these words are going the right way to read. These I want upside down. And I just lined up the corners a little bit. So now when you fold it up, you've got words that are going the right direction on your pocket. That's why I like to do it. So let's go ahead and cut off our margins here. So we just have text to work with. Close that up. And here I've got some coffee dyed paper to work with. I'm doing a lot of ums. I'm so sorry. That thinking out loud is not always a good thing. So let's fold up our pocket a little bit. And this is just an envelope that I got enclosed in some, it was either a bill, it must have been a bill because it says write the account number on the check. But if you pay it online, you still have these envelopes. And so I just copy dye them, and I like to use this pattern. It just looks interesting. And then, of course, you can always do something with the window and collage on it, but I'm going for the inside today. So let's go ahead and just fold it in half and cut it. Then I can have two journaling envelope cards. Pockets, I guess it would be a pocket, wouldn't it? And then we'll just cut that off. We're covering up those words that we were so careful to make sure they were right direction. Let's go ahead and apply glue. And it's going to be too big, but that's okay. Let's use a little bit of that blank margin. I'm just lining up this one edge so I get most of the print. I'm going to have a little bit of that margin too. Now we can trim it off. Let's go ahead and round our top corners too. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, and then here on this paper, let's go ahead and stamp. Let's find another background stamp. I'm going to use this one from Stamp Abilities. It's from Hobby Lobby. It's a faded text background, and it makes a nice background also. Using the coffee colored Ranger ink again. And let's go with this side and just stamp it. That works. That's good. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to put it on this part of our pocket. So I'm going to just go ahead and glue the pocket part. this part has our stamping, so we're going to place this real high tech. Give that a trim, and let's trim this part. Then we've got some more for another project. And let's go ahead and just glue up these two sides using the art glitter glue. Cute little pocket. And then I've got some of the 4x6 pattern tickets, and I've just used my Fiskars paper edger in the stamp edge. Here, let me grab it, show it to you. It's a Fiskars paper edger, and the blade cuts like a little stamp edge. It's an old one. I've had it for decades, probably since they first came out. I got a set, and this was one of them. Works pretty good. And here I've got, I'll show you how I did it. I just grabbed the 4x6 tickets and just cut. And you don't want to go all the way to the edge because it's flat there. So then I just want to line up the little notches again and finish the cut. And the same thing on the bottom. And then right up the center. And along this edge. It's probably easier to see it that way, isn't it? It just looks like a little postage ticket, postage stamp. So we can use these to decorate the outside of our little pocket. Put my little goodies back in the baggie. They like to disappear in my mountains of mess. So if I don't stay on top of them, I lose them. Then I have to print more. But that's okay too. Let's go with that red lady again. I like her. Let's ink it a little bit. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut off her legs. Make it a little bit shorter. Yeah, I like that better. That works. I also think I have some book page in here from a sewing book. Let's see if I can grab some of that. I've got so many old vintage sewing books. And then it adds another little layer and another little bit of interest. Let's ink around that just a tiny bit. Give the edge a little bit of definition. And just place the ticket on there. Here, how about, I've got a little bit of coffee dyed lace too. Let's play with that. Should we put some of that on the edge? And then our tickets. Oh, let's live dangerous. Let's just do it. If we don't like it, that's okay. It's just paper. And with the lace, I want to use the acetone base glues again. And just trim it off a little bit. And okay, that's my right side, so I want to put the glue on this side. I'm going to use the glue book and just dab it on that top margin. You know, here and there. The tweezer again. Boy, I guesstimated that cut pretty close. Making sure I don't go over the top of with the glues. Let's just attach this to that paper. And then we've got one less layer to work with and to worry about. And I'm just kind of making it crooked. And let's just go ahead and glue it on. And I'm not using a glue book. I get a glare if I don't have that cardstock there, so that's why I have that there. And just place it down. I'm thinking that I would really like to have stitching around this pocket. I think that would be a nice choice. So let me move a couple things. Scoop up that sewing machine. And let's just do it. Slow her down. Slow her down. Got to turn a corner here. And there, oh, let's, with that has that lace, and I just used Oohoo, so let's see if we can sneak in some of that 3-in-1 glue behind on that lace so that it sticks. Let's grab our, so that we can see how it looks. Little tag fits in there. Then we just glue this right onto our book or to a page, and we can leave this part open so we can slip a tag inside too. And here we'll just use it. So it could look like that. Or we could put one of our decorated tags in it. So here's our goodies that we made today. We have our little file folder journal notebook, and we made a couple of pattern or tags and a little pocket. So with that, I'm going to call it a video, and tomorrow we're going to play with the actual pages and start getting them ready and get them ready to get put into the journals. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.